Good afternoon, everybody. You are listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball. My name is Payne Patchett, and this is game number 5 of the 2018 Varsity Baseball season as the Lake Stevens Vikings play game number 2 of a 5-game homestead at home against the Edmonds Woodway Warriors. The Lake Stevens Vikings coming into this game, coming off getting their first win of the year as they have 1 win and 2 losses, while Edmonds Woodway is searching for their first win of the season in their second game of the season as they are 0-1. When we come back, it'll be the top of the first inning. We'll announce the lineups and the starting pitchers, and we'll get this game started here from a beautiful Wednesday afternoon here on March 20th, 2018, or my mistake, March 21st, 2018, here at Lake Stevens High School. We are back from Lake Stevens High School here for the top of the first inning here between the Edmonds Woodway Warriors and the Lake Stevens Vikings. The starter for Lake Stevens will be the senior number 12, Justin Troya, currently coming in with an 0-1 record and an ERA of 21. The first pitch to the leadoff hitter, center fielder Jalil Marinez, will be outside for a ball 1. He is the starting center fielder playing in his first year for the Edmonds Woodway baseball program as he moved here from Maryland. The 1-0, swing and a miss, strike 1. The lineup for the Edmonds Woodway Warriors, the center fielder Jalil Marinez, the second baseman number 3 Sam Alvarado, and the shortstop number 1 Julian Kodama. The 1-1, swing and a miss, strike 2 on Marinez. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters, designated hitter number 9 Jacob Kitchen, the right fielder Chad Curtis, and the left fielder Ty Starchman. The 7, 8, 9 hitters are the first baseman Thomas Blayhouse, making his first start against Lake Stevens, the third baseman Gunnar Whitelaw, and a number 9 is the starting pitcher. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3, and Troya gets Marinez swinging for the first out. Brings up the number 2 hitter, the second baseman Sam Alvarado. He was a pinch runner in last year's meeting between the two teams as Lake Stevens scored 3 runs in the top of the 7th to beat the Warriors 5-3. First pitch outside for a ball 1. Alvarado was one of 3 pinch runners used by Dan Somoza's Edmonds Woodway Warriors. The 1-0 pitch by Troya, low for a ball 2. Alvarado had a batting average of .083 last year, getting 2 hits in 24 at-bats for the Warriors. 2-0. The chopper, this one going to the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko. The throw to first is in time as he tags, as the first baseman Will Wentz tags Alvarado before he gets to the bag. It's the second out of the first inning, and it'll bring up the starting shortstop, Julian Kodama. He had a .287 batting average with 12 RBIs last year. That included 3 doubles and a triple, and was 6 for 6 in stolen bases last season. The first pitch, low for a ball 1. Had 25 hits in 87 at-bats. He was one of a few returning starters from that storied Warrior team, the 1-0. The chopper, this one getting into short center field and gets away from the glove of the second baseman Brandon Miller. And it'll be a 2-out single for Julian Kodama. And now bring up the cleanup hitter for the Edmonds Woodway Warriors. That is number 9, Jacob Kitchen. He was the second of 3 pinch runners that were used in last year's meeting. The throw to first not in time to get Julian Kodama. Jacob Kitchen, he was a pinch hitter. Runner goes to second. Does he get him? Yes, he does. Trey Long catching Julian Kodama, stealing at second base, and that will end the inning. There will be no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on. It'll end the top of the first inning on another amazing throw by Trey Long to second base. And now we go into the bottom of the first inning. Edmonds Woodway 0, Lake Stevens coming up, as it'll be number 6, Ian Michael, taking the jersey number of last year's Everett Herald Player of the Year, Brandon Mitchell, as he'll face the 1, 2, 3 hitters of Ben Pizer, Trey Long, and Connor Bardou. We are now back into the bottom of the first inning. Lake Stevens coming up to the plate for the first time this afternoon against Ian Michael, number 6. He is making his first appearance this year for Edmonds Woodway. And he'll be facing off against the left fielder, Ben Pizer. The first pitch, low for a ball 1 and gets past the catcher, Robley Corsi. Ian Michael last year had an undefeated record of 4 wins and no losses with an ERA of 2.23. He was mainly used as a reliever last year because of the amount of stellar starting pitching they had. Last year, the 1-0 pitch upstairs for a ball 2. As Ian Michael, he played in 7 games last year, starting in 3 of them. Getting a 4-0 record. The 2-0 low for a ball 3. He had 22 innings pitched, allowing 15 hits, 7 earned runs, walking 19 batters, and striking out 20 batters. And the 3-0 by Michael, inside for a ball 4, and Lake Stevens will start off the bottom of the first inning with a runner on first base. It'll bring up the starting catcher, Trey Long. He's coming into this game with a .500 batting average of 3 hits and 6 at-bats, with 2 of those 3 hits coming in yesterday's game against the Linwood Royals, as he had 2 singles, including one of them had an RBI. First pitch, strike 1 looking. The lineup for the 1 and 2 Lake Stevens Vikings: Ben Pizer, Trey Long, and the third baseman Connor Bardew. At the cleanup spot is the designated hitter Theron Perkins. Throw to first, not in time to get Ben Pizer. Theron Perkins, the designated hitter this time. He is not playing in the infield. Will Wentz, the first baseman, at the 5 spot. Christian Lapierre is the center fielder. He'll be batting in the 6th spot. Hunter Zalesko, the sophomore, at the 7th spot at shortstop. Ian Michael throwing to first, but before the throw, Trey calls time. And so it'll be a dead throw. At the 8th spot is the right fielder, Bryce Mefford. And at the 9th spot is the second baseman, Brandon Miller, making his first start this season for the Vikings. The 0-1 pitch, upstairs and outside for a ball 1. The defensive lineup for the Edmonds Woodway Warriors: on the mound is Ian Michael, and behind the plate is Robley Corsi. On the infield, it's Gunnar Whitelaw at third base, Kodama at shortstop. The 1-1. Hard hit ball. This one hit into the line at left field. Ben Pizer rounding towards third base and will stay there. Ben Pizer goes to third, and Trey Long has a stand-up double, lacing the left field line towards Ty Starchman. And there's runners on second and third with nobody up. There'll be a courtesy runner, Tanner Lind, once again pinch running for Trey Long. And that will bring up Connor Bardew, who is coming off hitting his first home run of the year yesterday in the 6th inning off of Connor Coombs of Linwood. And Ian Michael, the first pitch. Foul tip for an 0-1 count. Connor Bardew is the only player in the lineup to have played in last year's meeting at Mountain Lake Terrace High School between the Vikings and the Edmonds Woodway Warriors. That was a game in which the Vikings scored 3 runs in the top of the 7th inning to beat Edmonds Woodway by the score of 5-3, and they didn't even have a hit in that inning. The 0-1, another foul tip. Connor trying to find that right pitch, similar to what we saw yesterday, with Connor had 2 or 3 foul balls and ended up finding that perfect pitch as he hit one in the left field. Timeout by Edmonds Woodway. Robley Corsi going halfway to the mound to talk to Ian Michael. No balls and 2 strikes. The infield is Gunnar Whitelaw, Julian Kodama. The second baseman is Sam Alvarado, and the first baseman is Thomas Blayhouse. The 0-2, low for a ball 1 outside. And the outfield is mainly the same from last year. Apart from the center fielder, Jalil Marinez, is the left fielder, Ty Starchman, and the right fielder, Chad Curtis. With Ty Starchman, he was the first baseman in last year's meeting at Mountain Lake Terrace High School. The 1-2 pitch, strike 3 called, and a nice pitch by Ian Michael to get the first out in the bottom of the first inning. It'll bring up the designated hitter, Theron Perkins. currently 1 for 6 with an RBI this year. He is 2 for 2 on stolen bases. First pitch, fly ball. This one will go out for a foul over to Lake Stevens dugout. The reserves for the Lake Stevens Vikings is once again number 25, Bailey Corley, and number 20, Devin McWaters, wearing the home jersey for the first time this season, is Jacob Gordon, Tate Brust, Tommy Lindgren, Tanner Lind, and Alec Ibachuan. Ian Michael stepping off the mound. Lake Stevens has 1 returning batter from last year's meeting, while Edmonds Woodway has 6 returning batters from last year's meeting. Next pitch will go low and outside for a ball 1. And the designated hitter for the catcher Robley Corsi is Jacob Kitchen. And Ian Michael the 1-1. And nice pitch once again by Ian Michael. Strike 2 looking. There's Ian Michael. He showed off the curveball on the 1-2 pitch to Connor to strike him out. He showed the curveball in the last pitch, the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Theron strikes out swinging. Here is Will Wentz. There is Will Wentz with a chance to get a couple runs on the board for Lake Stevens. He is 4 for 11 on the year and was a pinch hitter in last year's meeting. He was a pinch hitter in the 7th inning where Julian Kodama was the pitcher. First pitch, strike 1 looking. As Will Wentz in yesterday's game, he was 0 for 2, got hit in the 2nd inning, and was taken over by Tanner Lind. And then apart from that, threw 5 1/3 innings of beautiful Viking baseball. The 0-1 pitch. This ball gets away from the catcher, Robley Corsi. Ben Pizer will score with no throw to home plate. And the Vikings will take an early 1-0 lead on a wild pitch by Ian Michael. There's a swing and a miss, strike 2 that will bring in the first run of the game, and Tanner will move to third. And the 0-2 pitch by Michael, swing and a miss, strike 3 after leaving a couple runners on. In the bottom of the 1st inning, Ian Michael strikes out the side to end the inning, but the damage is already done. 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on. Lake Stevens with an early 1-0 lead as we go into the top of the 2nd inning. As Justin Troya will face the middle of the order in Jacob Kitchen, the right fielder Chad Curtis, and the left fielder Ty Starchman. We are now back into the top of the 2nd inning. Lake Stevens taking an early 1-0 lead, and with Edmonds Woodway getting ready to respond here against Justin Troya. They're going to start with the cleanup hitter Jacob Kitchen, who on the first pitch that was thrown to him, Trey Long gunned down Julian Kodama at second base. The first pitch is a strike 1 looking, with Justin Troya on 3, technically 4 batters. He threw 4 balls and 5 strikes with a total of 9 pitches. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on. The 0-1 outside for a ball 1. The reserves for the Edmonds Woodway Warriors, number 5, Nico Cooper. Number 14, Carson Jarnberg, who is another player that was playing in last year's meeting. The 1-1 pitch goes to the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko. Throw to first is in time, and he'll get him again. And the ball will once again go to the sophomore, Hunter Zalesko, for another putout, and it brings up the first out of the 2nd inning for the number 5 hitter, Chad Curtis, the starting right fielder. He is the top returning starter from last year's meeting. First pitch outside for a ball 1. He was 1 for 3 with a 2-run double. Against Lake Stevens. The 1-0 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. Chad Curtis, he hit an RBI double in the 4th inning that tied the game at 2 apiece. And in the 6th inning, He hit an RBI ground out to the third baseman, Connor Bardu, that gave him the 3-2 lead. The 1-1 pitch outside for a ball 2. And on the year, he has the top returning batting average with a .318 average, hitting 8 RBIs, scoring 6 times. And the 2-1 pitch is low and inside for a ball 3. Scored 6 runs and was 5 for 7 on stolen bases last year. And the 3-1 pitch outside for a ball 4, and Edmonds Woodway gets a runner on with a 1-out walk. And it brings up the number 6 hitter, Ty Starchman, with 1 out in the second inning. He was 1 for 2 with a run scored. And struck out in the second inning off of then starter Connor Olmstead, who graduated last year. First pitch is a strike 1 looking to the southpaw Ty Starchman. On the year, he was 16 hits in 67 at-bats, a .239 batting average, hitting 1 double, scoring 7 times, and getting 7 RBIs. Throw to first, not in time. It is 2 for 4 on stolen bases last year. As Starchman, he was the starting first baseman last year in last year's game. The 0-1, strike 2 looking. Troya freezing Starchman with that pitch. It'll go to an 0-2 count. So it is the reserves, Nico Cooper, Carson Jarnberg, another player who played for the Warriors last year. Ryan Nelson, another reserve, throw to first, not in time. Tommy Oda, and number 10, Logan Cruz, K-R-U-S-E, for the Warriors. Justin Troya getting the sign from the catcher, Trey Long. Looking over at first, the 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and he got Starchman swinging for the second out of the second inning. He'll bring up the number 7 hitter, the first baseman, number 16, Thomas Blayhouse. It is spelled B-L-A-I-H-O-U-S-E. That'll be the third left-handed hitter in the lineup. First pitch. And it'll be a slow chopper that just gets in foul territory, fielded by the first baseman, Will Wentz, for a foul ball and 0-1 count. The Edmonds Woodway Warriors are currently with a record of no wins and 1 loss. They played last week, 7 days ago, on the road at Bellevue College against the Bellevue Wolverines, where they lost 11-5. The 0-1, a slow grounder. This one to the second baseman, Brandon Miller, who tosses it to the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko, for a fielder's choice. And that will end the top of the second inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on. Justin Troya looking pretty good so far through 2 innings. As Ian Michael will come back to the mound, he'll be facing the 6, 7, and 8 hitters of Christian Lapierre, Hunter Zalesko, and Bryce Mefford. We are now back into the bottom of the second inning. Ian Michael coming back on the mound for the Warriors. He'll be facing the number 6 hitter, the starting center fielder, number 21, Christian Lapierre. The first pitch from Michael, low and in the dirt for a ball 1. Lapierre currently 1 hit in 7 at-bats with 1 RBI and is currently 2 for 2 in stolen bases, with both stolen bases coming from yesterday. The 1-0, a foul chopper going into foul territory, 1 ball and 1 strike. Ian Michael, 7 balls, 11 strikes with 18 pitches. And that is his total through 1 inning, allowing 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on. The 1-1 pitch from Ian Michael, that's low and gets between the legs of the starting catcher, Robley Corsi. It is 2 balls and 1 strike. Lake Stevens, they have a record of 1 win and 2 losses, coming off their first win of the year yesterday, the 2-1. Hard hit ball, this one going into center field to the center fielder, Jalil Marinez, for the first out of the second inning. It'll bring up the sophomore shortstop, number 22, Hunter Zalesko, currently with a .400 batting average of 4 and 10, 4 hits and 10 at-bats. and 2 RBIs and is also 2 for 2 on stolen bases. First pitch, low for a ball 1. So the Vikings are 1-2. They played their first game against Arlington. That game is currently postponed with Lake Stevens trailing 12-7 in the top of the 5th. The 1-0, a 1 hopper to the catcher Corsi once again goes between his legs into the top of the 5th inning. With the Arlington Eagles, that game is going to be resumed on Monday, March 26th. That is 5 days from now. The 2-0, that one is a fly ball out for a foul. And it'll get behind the Lake Stevens bleachers for a called strike. 2 balls and 1 strike count. They played their first full game against Marysville Pilchuck. 2-1, fly ball. This one going into short center field. The second baseman calls for it. That is Sam Alvarado with Jalil Marinez and Chad Curtis running near him. And that'll go for the second out of the second inning. Will bring up the right fielder, Bryce Mefford. Early this season, 2 hits in 7 at-bats. He hit an RBI double yesterday and later scored, and he is 0 for 1 on stolen bases this season. The first pitch to Ian Michael, a hard hit line drive ball, and that just gets in foul territory as it just hops over the third base bag past the third baseman Gunnar Whitelaw. So Lake Stevens, they played their first full game against Marysville Pilchuck. They lost that game 16-11. They were the road team at home. The 0-1, upstairs, ball 1. Upstairs and outside for a ball 1. They then played the Meadowdale Mavericks, in which they lost 9-4 against Bill Hummel's Mavs, and then they got their first win in a 6-0 win over the Linwood Royals. The 1-1, a foul. This one, a chopper going straight to the pitcher, Ian Michael. Tosses it to first, and Ian Michael has a 1-2-3 inning. For the Warriors, no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. It is only 1-0. Edmonds Woodway trailing at Lake Stevens as we go into the top of the third, with Troya facing an 8-9-1 batting order of Gunnar Whitelaw, Ian Michael, the starting pitcher, and then back up to Jalil Marinez as we come back at the top of the third inning. 1-0 Lake Stevens. And we are now back. We now go into the top of the third inning. Lake Stevens leading Edmonds Woodway by the score of 1-0. Justin Troya is back up on the mound facing the number 8 hitter, the third baseman Gunnar Whitelaw. The first pitch from Justin Troya outside for a ball 1. In last year's meeting, Gunnar Whitelaw, he was 0 for 2, striking out looking in the second inning and striking out swinging in the 4th inning from the arm of Connor Olmstead. The 1-0 upstairs, ball 2. Justin Troya, 5 balls and 8 strikes, total of 13 pitches in that second inning, brings it to a total of 9 balls and 13 strikes with a total of 22 pitches, with no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on. The 2-0, strike 1 looking right down the middle. Edmonds Woodway had a really good season last year, finishing with a record of 19-8. The 2-1 line drive ball that gets into the hole in left field, and Edmonds Woodway would start off with a leadoff single by Gunnar Whitelaw, and it'll bring up the starting pitcher Ian Michael, who was 0 for 4, striking out 3 times in a leadoff spot in last year's meeting against the Vikings. And overall hitting, he had a 177 batting average, 11 hits, and 62 at-bats. The first pitch, tries bunting for it. That is a fair ball that rolls into foul territory for an 0-1 count, as Michael tries to move Gunnar Whitelaw to second base. Edmonds Woodway last year, they finished with 19 wins and 8 losses. They were 14-3 in the Wesco 3A South and had the number 1 overall seed in the 3A bracket. They beat the Stanwood Spartans by the score of 8-6 in the first round at home, and then played in Meridian Park. The 1 and the 0-1 pitch. Justin Troya tossing the ball to the first baseman Will Wentz to a 1-hopper for a sacrifice bunt. And it'll bring us back to the top of the order for the center fielder Jalil Marinez, who struck out swinging on a 1-2 count back in the top of the first inning. After Edmonds Woodway beat Stanwood, they played at Meridian Park Fields in Shorewood, where they beat the Snohomish Panthers in 8 innings, 4-3. First pitch outside for a ball 1. The semifinal game had a case of the endless eights there. It went into the 8th inning, went into the extra innings, and Edmonds Woodway won on a walk-off hit by Brandon Mitchell, 4-3. And then from there, they played once again at Meridian Park for the Wesco title game, where they beat the Shorewood Thunderbirds 2-1. Justin Troya, looking over at second base, steps off the mound. Facing a 1-0 count against the leadoff hitter, Jalil Marinez. And from there, they played at Sherman Anderson Field in Mount Vernon for the 3A state playoffs. And the 1-0 pitch, upstairs, ball 2. And at Mount Vernon, they beat the Mountain View Thunder 3-1 in the first round. And then they beat the Arlington Eagles also in extra innings in the quarterfinals to move on to Safeco Field in the semifinals for the first time in school history. The 2-0 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. It was the first time that Edmonds Woodway ever went to the state semifinals for its baseball program since since Edmonds High School and Woodway High School merged back in 1990, 28 years ago. They first played the Gig Harbor Tide, who ended up winning the 3A state title. Throw to second is not in time. It gets in and out of the glove of the shortstop Hunter Zalesko, and Gunnar Whitelaw will stay safe at second. They lost 5-0 to the Gig Harbor Tide in the semifinal. They ended up winning the state championship over the Southridge Suns, and they ended up getting 4th place as they lost to the Mercer Island Islanders 2-1. The 2-1 pitch upstairs for a ball 3. But regardless, even though they lost their 2 games, Edmonds Woodway ended up getting a trophy out of it. They got the 4th place trophy, their first trophy for the baseball program again since the 2 teams merged, since the 2 schools merged back in 1990. The 3-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2, a full count, 3-2. And Troy has just been getting, baseballs past the leadoff hitter. It looks like in all 5 pitches that were called strikes. Now a full count, 3-2. Troya looking over at second, the payoff pitch. And it'll go outside for a ball 4. As Edmonds Woodway will have runners on first and second. Timeout by Lake Stevens with the entire infield and Trey Long going to the mound. With the second baseman Sam Alvarado coming up to the plate. He is 0-for-1 with a ground ball to the shortstop Hunter Zalesko. And the defensive lineup for the Lake Stevens Vikings on the mound is Justin Troya, and behind the plate is Trey Long. On the infield, at third base is Connor Bardou. At shortstop is Hunter Zalesko. On second base is Brendan Miller, starting for the first time this year at second base. And at first base is Will Wentz. On the outfield, at left field is Ben Pizer. At center field is Christian LaPierre. And at right field is Bryce Mefford. Lake Stevens in double play position here with runners on first and second for the second baseman Sam Alvarado. Getting only 2 hits and 24 at-bats. First pitch, a hard hit ball going into center field. LaPierre going back, making the catch. And Whitelaw he was almost going to third base there, but instead he'll stay at second. Runners on first and second with 2 outs for Julian Kodama, who hit a 1-0 pitch into straightaway center field and later got picked off by Trey Long at second base to end the top of the first inning. Then the first pitch by Troya, ground ball. This gets to the second baseman Brendan Miller, who throws to first, and it will end the threat for the Lake Stevens Vikings. A great job by the Vikings in the third inning. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 runners left on. It is still a 1-0 Lake Stevens lead as we go into the bottom of the third inning. as Ian Michael will come back onto the mound facing the 9-1 two batters of Brendan Miller, Ben Pizer, and Trey Long. And we are now back. We are at the bottom of the third inning. Lake Stevens still with a 1-0 lead over the Edmonds Woodway Warriors and is attempting to increase that lead as Brendan Miller will come up to the plate. He is the number 9 hitter and the starting second baseman, making his first varsity at-bat of the season. The first pitch by Ian Michael is a strike one looking. It'll be a 9-1-2 of Brendan Miller, Ben Pizer, and Trey Long. And the 0-1, swing and a miss, strike two. Get him with the curveball. Now, since 2012, both of these teams had a very, very memorable series of matchups. The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike three. Robley Corsi throwing to first and getting Brendan Miller in time for the first out of the third inning for strikeout number 4. For Ian Michael through 2 1/3. It goes back to the top of the order for the left fielder Ben Pizer, who has walked on 4 pitches and scored from third on a wild pitch. And Ian Michael with the first pitch, low and inside for a ball one. With the series of games starting in 2012, that was when both teams were in 4A. And back when the two divisions, it's right now Wesco 4A, but it was the Wesco 4A North and South, the 1-0. Inside for a ball two. As Edmonds Woodway was in the Wesco 4A South, and Lake Stevens was in the Wesco 4A North. 2012 in the Wesco title game, Lake Stevens walked off against Edmonds Woodway 5-4, the 2-0. A one-hopper that will hit the chest piece of the home plate umpire, will be a ball 3. As Lake Stevens won the Wesco title game 5-4 in 2012. In 2013 was the first regular season meeting here at Lake Stevens where Edmonds Woodway won 10-3. The 3-0 pitch upstairs, barely for a ball 4. And once again, Ben Pizer will walk on 4 pitches to first base. It brings up the number 2 hitter, Trey Long, who hit a 1-1 pitch in lace down left field, moving Ben Pizer to third base. Throw to first, not in time to get Ben Pizer. 2013, it was the first regular season meeting here at Lake Stevens High School. Edmonds Woodway won by the score of 10-3. They then met in the Wesco semifinals at Everett Memorial Stadium, where the Vikings beat the Warriors 3-1 en route to their second consecutive Wesco title. Throw to first, not in time. In 2014, these two teams met at Edmonds Woodway High School, in which the Warriors won 6-2, but Lake Stevens got the last laugh in probably one of the best comebacks in recent Wesco baseball memory. The first pitch will get past the catcher, Robley Corsi, for a ball 1, and Ben Pizer will once again advance to another base on another wild pitch. As in the 2014 Wesco semifinals at Everett Memorial Stadium, the Vikings were down 3-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning and scored and won 4-3 on a 2-run double by Brandon Kelleher. The 1-0, a one-hopper, Ben Pizer not going to third. A nice job by Robley Corsi to keep the ball in play for a 2-0 count. Lake Stevens, they won that game. They lost the Wesco championship game to Cascade by the score of 4-1, but both teams ended up going to the state playoffs anyway. Both teams lost in the first round. The 2-0 pitch, low for a ball 3. Ian Michael trying that curveball, but it's not going to trick Trey Long here. In 2015, the Vikings once again traveled down to Edmonds, with the Vikings winning 11-2. And then back in 2016, it was the Vikings losing at home 7-4. The 3-0 pitch, it is ball 8 for Ian Michael, as the Vikings have runners on first and second. And once again, Tanner Lind will pinch run for Trey Long, and to bring up Connor Bardou, who struck out looking on a 1-2 count. A timeout by Edmonds Woodway. It'll be the assistant coach for the Edmonds Woodway Warriors, along with the catcher Robley Corsi, going to talk to Ian Michael, with runners on first and second base. 2016, Edmonds Woodway traveled here and won 7-4 over the Vikings. And last year at Mount Lake Terrace High School, because the game was supposed to be at Edmonds Woodway, but it was rained out, the Vikings scored 3 runs in the top of the 7th inning to beat Edmonds Woodway by the final score of 5-3. The first pitch from Ian Michael low for a ball 1. Runner goes. Corsi to throw to third is not in time. As a stolen base for Ben Pizer. As he was running for it, it will be a ball 9 as Ben Pizer will get a stolen base, his first, and Tanner Lind getting his second stolen base of the season. And a 1-0 pitch. Strike 1 looking. Ian Michael once again tricking Connor with that curveball that got him last time. Infield is in for Edmonds Woodway, the 1-1. Fly ball, that is out for a foul ball. Over to Lake Stevens bleachers once again. Connor Bardew in last year's meeting, he was 0 for 3. He was walked with the bases loaded in the 7th inning by Julian Kodama and got an RBI out of that. It led to the 3-run effort. The 1-2, outside, ball 2. And Ian Michael, 2-2. Fly ball. That's going to go. That's going to stay in the infield. The second baseman, Sam Alvarado, getting it around short right field for the second out. Runners on second and third for Theron Perkins, who struck out swinging on 4 pitches to that curveball back in the first inning as well. And the first pitch by Ian Michael low for a ball 1.
You don't want that, not 1 bit. Let's go. Let's go, Perkins. Here we go, kid.
Ian Michael shaking off and getting a sign from Corsi. The 1-0. He's bunting for it. This one goes to the pitcher. The throw to first is in time, barely at first base, as Theron Perkins tries to get another run on the board, but it will not be successful. No runs on no hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on. Is still a 1-0 Lake Stevens lead as we go into the top of the 4th inning. Justin Troya back up on the mound. He'll face the middle of the order in Jacob Kitchen, Chad Curtis, and Ty Starchman once again. And we are now back. We're at the top of the 4th inning. Lake Stevens leading Edmonds Woodway 1-0. Justin Troya looking pretty good on the mound through 3 innings. And so he'll face the number 4 hitter once again, Jacob Kitchen, the designated hitter, batting for the catcher, Robley Corsi, as he grounded out to the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko, in his last time up in the 2nd inning. First pitch, upstairs for a ball 1. Justin Troya throwing 6 balls and 8 strikes for 14 pitches in the 3rd inning, a total of 15 balls and 21 strikes for 36 pitches, allowing no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 runners left on. The 1-0 pitch. This one going under the strike zone to Kitchen for a ball 2. And the 2-0 pitch from Troya upstairs, ball 3. For Edmonds Woodway for that really good season. They also had some pretty good postseason honors as well, with Brandon Mitchell getting some Player of the Year honors from the Everett Herald after coming back from injury his junior season. The 3-0 outside, ball 4, Edmonds Woodway with a leadoff walk. Now bring up the number 5 hitter, Chad Curtis, the right fielder, who was walked on 5 pitches and was later got out on a fielder's choice to end the top of the 2nd inning. And the first pitch from Troya, strike 1 looking. There's Brandon Mitchell. He was a first-team Wesco 3A South infielder and was the Everett Herald Player of the Year last season. The 0-1. Hard hit ball. This one laced into left field. That is a fair ball. Kitchen rounding the third base. And the throw to third will be cut off by the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko, as Chad Curtis has himself a stand-up double. It'll bring up the number 7 hitter Ty Starchman, who struck out swinging on 3 pitches his last time up. Edmonds Woodway already threatening with the game-tying run at first and the game-leading run at second base. The first pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1, gets off the catcher's helmet of Trey Long. As for the Wesco 3A South, Nick Hull was a first-team pitcher. He was the starting pitcher in last year's meeting. Garrison Crone was a first-team designated hitter. He is also a senior that graduated. And the first-team utility player was Costa Cooper, who was mainly a catcher. The 0-1 pitch outside for a ball 1. The activity going on in the bullpen right now, that is number 1, Julian Kodama. He was the expected starter for the Edmonds Woodway Warriors coming into this game, but it looks like he'll pitch in reserve just like last year. The 1-1, foul tip, a 1-2 count. And for the second team, Costa Cooper was the second team catcher. Jacob Kitchen was a second team outfielder as a junior. And Ian Michael is a second team outfielder as a sophomore last season. For the Warriors, the Edmonds Woodway, they lost 5 players, and unfortunately it was their 5 best players on that state playoff team last year. The 1-2, a foul tip by Starchman. For 1 ball and 2 strikes. They lost Nick Hull and Brandon Mitchell, who are both pitchers and infielders. Costa Cooper, who could be a pitcher and a catcher. Aaron Ramos, who is playing in outfield mostly. And Garrison Crone, who could play behind the plate and can DH for Edmonds Woodway. The 1-2. Check swing. Did he get him? No, he didn't. Just got him outside for a ball 2. And the 2-2 by Troya. A slow fly ball to the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko, and it'll keep the runners. And it'll keep the runners at bay at second and third. A huge out for Lake Stevens. Gets one on the board for the first baseman, Thomas Blayhouse. On an 0-1 pitch, he hit one to the second baseman, Brandon Miller, who tossed it to the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko, to get Chad Curtis out at second base. And the first pitch, strike 1 looking. And Troya, the 0-1, going under the strike zone for a ball 1. The next 5 games for the Edmonds Woodway Warriors, very similar to what Linwood is going through right now, where they're playing a series of 4A opponents and playing a series of 3A North opponents before starting conference play in the 3A South. The 1-1, strike 2 looking, hitting the bottom part of the strike zone. They're going to play on. They're also going to play on Saturday, March 24th. They're going to play at Jackson. Then they're going to play at home for their first home game of the year on March 27th against the Everett Seagulls. And then the next day on the 28th, play at Arlington. The 1-2. The ground ball, this will go foul past the first base side. 1 ball and 2 strikes. On March 30th, they'll be traveling at the road just about a few miles from here at Marysville Pilchuck High School. And then on April 3rd, they'll start Wesco 3A South play at home against the Mount Lake Terrace Hawks, and then we'll play a game on April 4th on the road against those same Hawks. The 1-2 pitch, foul tip hits the fence behind home plate. Blayhouse fighting for it.
Be the guy, win the battle, Hunter out.
And Troya, the 1-2 pitch.
Out of bag.
Foul tip. Blayhouse is chasing that one. And Blayhouse is not giving up on this at-bat right here.
Left body, middle, left body. Purdue.
And Troya, the 1-2. Fly ball. This will be a short fly ball to left field. Pizer running for it. Cannot make the catch. 1 run's going to score. The throw to third is not in time. And it will be an RBI single for Thomas Blayhouse, as he later goes to second on the E7. And the game is now tied at 1. And timeout by Lake Stevens. Justin Troya coming onto the mound, along with Trey Long and Gunnar Whitelaw coming to the plate. As the 8-hitter, he had a 2-1 pitch to left field and was stranded at second base. And Justin Troya will be taken out of the game and will be replaced by number 20, Devin McWaters. We'll take a quick break here at top of the 4th inning. 1 out and runners on second and third. Edmonds Woodway and Lake Stevens tied at 1. And we are now back. We are at the top of the 4th inning. Edmonds Woodway tying Lake Stevens 1 apiece. 1 run apiece as Lake Stevens brings in a new pitcher in number 20, Devin McWaters, facing the third baseman Gunnar Whitelaw. And the first pitch by McWaters is a strike 1 looking. Justin Troya finishing his afternoon 3 1/3 innings with 3 hits, currently 1 earned run, walking 3, striking out 2 on 55 pitches. The 0-1, low for a ball 1. And Devin McWaters, no wins and no losses with an ERA of 0. He had a relief appearance last week against the Meadowdale Mavericks, throwing in the 6th inning. No hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. Next pitch low for a ball 2.
Like you do, baby, like you do.
That'll be the error by the left fielder Ben Pizer that will move Thomas Blayhouse to second. The 2-1. Hard hit ball, a golf shot. That is lace in the left field. 1 run's going to score. Blayhouse is rounding around second base and is a 2-run double for Ty Starchman, and Edmonds Woodway has a 3-1 lead. Or my mistake, Gunnar Whitelaw, not Ty Starchman. And so Justin Troya, all 3 runs will go towards him, and he'll have 3 earned runs total on the night. The next batter will be the 9-hitter Ian Michael, who hit a sacrifice bunt to move Whitelaw to second. First pitch, strike 1 looking. It'll be a 2-run double for Gunnar Whitelaw. After going 0 for 2 in last year's meeting, he is now 2 for 2 with a double and 2 RBIs for the Warriors. And McWaters, the 0-1. It'll be a 1-hopper. It'll be a 1-hopper to the catcher Trey Long. He loses it for a second. Was able to get it back as Gunnar Whitelaw stays at second base. Devin McWaters, again, is only throwing a scoreless inning and 22 pitches in his last appearance. And the 1-1 pitch goes outside for a ball 2. And the 2-1 pitch by McWaters, swing and a miss, strike 2.
Hey, there's a big one right here. Get it.
And 2 balls and 2 strikes, runner on second base. As the Warriors try to continue the inning, the 2-2 pitch, fly ball. This one going into left field. Ben Pizer is under it, will make the catch. Gunnar Whitelaw was ready to run to third base, but will have to go back to second. He was already back at second base as Ben Pizer caught the ball. He was already 3/4 of the way to third when the ball was in the air. Timeout by Lake Stevens as the Warriors will go back up to the top of the order with Jalil Marinez, who is 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk this afternoon.
Top! Hey, field it, get rid of it. Hunter, you gotta be about medium depth here. Don't go all the way back.
And McWaters stepping off the mound. It was Devin McWaters. He was 1 inning, no hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout on 22 pitches. He faced 4 batters. He walked the leadoff guy, stranded him at third, and struck out the final guy to end the inning. First pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. Marinez in the first inning, he was struck out on 4 pitches. And the third inning, he was walked with a full count from Justin Troya and was stranded at first base. The 0-1 upstairs on top of the strike zone for a ball 1. There's a few of these players from Lake Stevens and Edmonds Woodway that know each other from playing in the same select team, such as Trey Long with Lake Stevens and Jalil Marinez and Julian Kodama with Edmonds Woodway. Looking over at second, the 1-1. One hopper to Trey. Going up for a ball 2. It looks like that is the only defensive change for Lake Stevens would be on the mound. From Justin to Devin, the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And McWaters ahead of the count of Marinez, trying to end the inning after Edmonds Woodway scoring 3 runs in the top of the 4th. The 2-2 pitch, fly ball, that's laced for a foul ball. Over to Lake Stevens dugout. Again, in the 4th inning, it was an RBI single by Thomas Blayhouse and a 2-run double by Gunnar Whitelaw, with both hits going towards Ben Pizer in left field. The 2-2 pitch by McWaters. It hits home plate and gets past Trey Long entirely, and it will be a ball 3, another full count as Gunnar Whitelaw will move to third base on a wild pitch. As Edmonds Woodway's 4th run of the afternoon is in scoring position.
Stick with it, Trey. Stick with it.
McWaters getting the sign. The payoff pitch. Chopper. This one going into third. The long throw from Bardua. One hopper. Did he get him? Yes, he did! And that will end the top of the 4th inning. 3 runs on 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 runner left on. Edmonds Woodway storming back to take a 3-1 lead as we go into the bottom of the 4th inning. Looking like Ian Michael might come back onto the mound. It's hard to say for sure right now, but we'll give you the update when we get back in the bottom of the 4th inning. It's now Edmonds Woodway 3, Lake Stevens 1, with the 5, 6, and 7 batters, Will Wentz, Christian LaPierre, and Hunter Zalesko coming to the plate. We are now back into the bottom of the 4th inning. Edmonds Woodway taking a 3-1 lead over the Lake Stevens Vikings, and it'll give the Warriors a really good time to bring in a new pitcher. That'll be number 1, Julian Kodama. And it'll be facing off against the number 5 hitter, Will Wentz. First pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. Will Wentz, he struck out on 3 pitches to end the 1st inning. As Ian Michael finished with 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and struck out 4. The 0-1 pitch, a foul tip for an 0-2 count. It'll be Julian Kodama. He was one of the returning players from last year's team and ended up pitching in last year's meeting as well. And Julian, the 0-2 pitch. Foul tip to Will Wentz. On the season, Julian Kodama, 2 wins and 2 losses with an ERA of 3.97. He played in 8 games last year, starting in 3, throwing 24 2/3 innings, 15 hits, 14 earned runs, walking 20, and striking out 13. The 0-2 pitch. A 1-hopper to the catcher Robley Corsi for a ball 1. And one of his 2 losses came in last year's meeting against the Lake Stevens Vikings. He came in the 7th inning, replacing Brandon Mitchell with a 3-2 lead, and only pitched a third of an inning and allowing all 3 runs to score. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3 for Will Wentz for the first out of the bottom of the 4th inning. And it'll bring up Christian LaPierre, the center fielder, who hit a 2-1 pitch to the center fielder Jalil Marinez for the first out of the 2nd inning. And the first pitch by Kodama, outside, ball 1. And in that 7th inning, he threw a third of an inning, allowing no hits, walking 3 batters, and allowing all 3 earned runs. And the 1-0. It'll be a lace ball. It'll be a bloop single. It'll be hit right near the first base line. And it'll be a 1-out single for Christian LaPierre. And also, apart from the defensive change on the mound, replacing Julian Kodama at shortstop is number 19, Tommy Oda, the younger brother of Joey Oda, who is a Edmonds Woodway graduate a couple of years ago. Throw to first, not in time. It'll be Hunter Zalesko, who flied out to the second baseman Sam Alvarado for the 2nd out of the 2nd inning. And they're going to take Ian Michael out, possibly use him for Saturday against Jackson. Kodama the pitch, inside, ball 1. And currently Justin Troya, because he allowed the 3 runs, he is on line for the loss. Ian Michael, because he was taken out in the 3rd inning, he's currently on line for the win. The pitch, fly ball, that is stay in fair territory. The 3rd baseman, Gunnar Whitelaw, making the catch right next to the fence of the Edmonds Woodway bullpen for the 2nd out of the 4th inning. And I'll bring up the right fielder Bryce Mefford, who hit a 1-1 pitch straight back to the pitcher Ian Michael for the final out of the 2nd inning. And the first pitch from the senior, throw to first, not in time. And the first pitch, a 1-hopper, gets past the catcher Corsi. The throw to second is not in time. LaPierre gets in with his 3rd stolen base of the year. And Julian the 1-0. Strike 1 looking to Bryce. And the next 5 games for the Lake Stevens Vikings will be playing their final, or what should have been their final non-conference games this Saturday. The 1-1. So check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Strike 2 for a 1 ball and 2 strikes. This will be playing on March 24th against the Central Kitsap Cougars here at home. And Julian, the 1-2 pitch, upstairs for a ball 2. We've played against Central Kitsap. We'll be playing on Monday, March 26th against the Arlington Eagles. Timeout by Edmonds Woodway. As Robley Corsi goes out to the mound to talk to Julian Kodama. And after the Arlington game, after they resumed that game from the top of the 5th inning, They'll start conference play against the red-hot Cascade Bruins, who are currently undefeated after beating Inglemoor yesterday. They play them on the 28th at home and on March 30th on the road. And then during spring break, they'll be playing the Mariner Marauders on April 4th on the road and April 6th at home. The 2-2 pitch from Julian. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that will end the 4th inning. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on. The second strikeout of the afternoon for Julian Kodama. It is still a 3-1 Edmonds Woodway lead as we go into the top of the 5th inning. With Devin McWaters coming back up on the mound to face a 2-3-4 lineup of Sam Alvarado, Kodama, and Jacob Kitchen. And we are back. We are at the top of the 5th inning. Lake Stevens trailing Edmonds Woodway 3-1. Devin McWaters facing off against Sam Alvarado, who hits it straight back to McWaters for the first out of the 5th inning. For a 1-3, and it brings up Julian Kodama, who is 1 for 2 with a single in the 1st inning. And Devin McWaters, 7 balls on 9 strikes and 16 pitches as his total overall coming into this inning. Currently 3 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and 1 runner left on in that huge 4th inning. First pitch to Kodama. That gets into the hole in right field away from a stumbling Brandon Miller. That is his 2nd hit for Julian Kodama, a 1-out single. And it'll bring up Jacob Kitchen, who is 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored.
Don't play ball here. Let's go, Mickey Nuggets. Let's go, Mickey Nuggets. Big Fiddle. Big Muffins. Here we go, Devin.
And the first pitch by McWaters outside, ball 1.
I like that one, though.
And
I like that.
one of the interesting factoids that I found out about this Edmonds Woodway team was that the player that is replacing all-star catcher Costa Cooper at Edmonds Woodway is Robley Corsi. Next pitch is ball 2. Runner stays at first. Is Robley Corsi, who, for anyone who does not remember, he was a member of the Pacific Little League team that went to the Little League World Series back in 2014. And the head coach was his father, Robley Corsi Jr., so the catcher is Robley Corsi the third. The 2-0 pitch, this one hitting the right field. This one going towards Bryce and gets it for the 2nd out of the 5th inning. Brings up the number 5 hitter right fielder Chad Curtis, who was walked and got out on a fielder's choice and hit a double in the 4th inning. And Robley Corsi Jr. was the coach, and the player is Robley Corsi the third, who was catching today. And the runner goes, Trey, the throw to second. Did he get him? No, he did not. It's a stolen base for Julian Kodama. He tests his luck again against the arm of Trey Long, and this time he succeeded in the 5th inning. As once again Trey Long throws, falling face forward on his knees. And the 1-0 pitch by McWaters, inside for a ball 2. And that Pacific Little League team, it was completely demolished the competition around here and got past the West Regional down in San Bernardino, California on ESPN, and ended up playing in the Little League World Series. The 2-0 fly ball, that is a foul territory with Will Wentz getting it in foul territory and will make the catch. And it'll be no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on. It's still a 3-1 Edmonds Woodway lead as Lake Stevens trying to start the comeback in the bottom of the 5th inning. It'll be a 9-1-2 of Brendan, Ben, and Trey as they'll face Julian for the first time this afternoon in the bottom of the 5th inning. And we are now back. We're at the bottom of the 5th inning. Edmonds Woodway leading Lake Stevens by the score of 3-1. Julian back up on the mound. It'll be Brendan Miller, who struck out swinging on 3 pitches his last time up back in the 3rd inning. Julian, the first pitch, low for a ball 1. Back to Robley Corsi in the regional. It was back to Robley Corsi. It was the Pacific Little League team. They lost to the Studs over from Chicago, Illinois in the first round, then beat the team from South Dakota in the consolation round. The 1-0 pitch, a foul tip for a strike one. And then lost in the next round, finished with a 1-2 record, but after that they were getting all kinds of respect and accolades around here after leaving Williamsport. The 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike two. Or a 1-2 count, and back in 2016 it was announced that Robley Corsi Jr., the coach of that Little League World Series team, would coach the Edmonds Woodway Junior varsity team. The 1-2, outside for a ball two. There was also a couple defensive changes for the Edmonds Woodway Warriors. Starting at first base now, replacing Thomas Blayhouse, is number 17, Ryan Nelson. And Corsi was also replaced behind the plate too. The 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike three. It is strikeout number 3 for Julian Kodama, as the Vikings will go back to the top of the order. Ben Pizer, he does not have an official at-bat this afternoon, as he has been walked twice, scoring the lone run for the Vikings this afternoon. And Julian getting the sign from the new catcher, number 5, Nico Cooper. First pitch, strike one, looking right down the middle. The first strike that's been thrown to Ben this afternoon is Nico Cooper, Costa Cooper's little brother, who will be replacing Robley Corsi behind the plate. And Julian, the 0-1. Upstairs and outside for a ball one. And Julian, the 1-1. Hard hit ball. This one going in the left field. Back it goes into right center field. And Pizer's aiming for second base. And the throw to second will not be in time. And Ben Pizer has himself a one-out double. This one getting past the glove of Chad Curtis. And Ben Pizer getting his first extra base hit of the season. And it will bring up Trey Long, who was also walked but got a double in the first inning. He had a double in the first inning and was walked in the third inning on 4 pitches, and was replaced by Tanner Lind, running the bases in both occasions. First pitch by Julian. Swing and a miss, strike one. Julian getting the sign from Nico. The 0-1 pitch. A one-hopper. Pizer looked like he was running to third. Throw back to second. Not in time. And a lucky break there by Ben Pizer as he gets back to second safely. A lucky break for Lake Stevens there. And Julian, the 1-1. Outside, ball 2. Very solid pitch there, but it just gets outside, hits the outside part of the strike zone. And the 2-1 pitch by Julian. Outside, ball 3.
Let's go, Ellen!
And the 3-1 pitch, 3-1 count, upstairs, ball 4. And the Vikings once again have runners on first and second with one out for Connor Bardou. He is 0 for 2 with a strikeout looking in the first inning. And he flew out to the second baseman, Sam Alvarado, back in the third. And this is his first at-bat against Julian Kodama since late March of last season when he was walked on 4 pitches and got an RBI out of that. And Julian, the first pitch. Low, a one hopper to Nico for a ball one.
7 plus 3 minus 2. 8.
And a timeout by Connor. It was in this same scenario, or not in the same scenario, but around the same time of the game yesterday is where he hit that solo home run to left field over the head of the left fielder Robert Boyce, and he later ran into the wall. And Kodama looking over at second, the 1-0. Outside, ball 2. And this is also the part of the point in the game where Lake Stevens dugout gets a little rowdy, helping out the batter. The 2-0. Strike one looking. Julian this time tricking Connor with the curveball. It's around the same spot as where Ian Michael threw it to him earlier in the game. Also in the 4th inning, Julian 5 balls on 9 strikes and 14 pitches, leading to no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on in the 4th inning. The 2-1. Outside, ball 3. Julian not in a pretty good situation. If I didn't know better, I would have said he was in a scenario pretty similar to what happened last year, in which, in this case, he started walking guys and hitting guys, as he got 3 hit batters last year. The 3-1. Fly ball, that's out for a foul ball. It's a full count.
Watch out, right here.
As Julian Kodama, he may not be ahead of the count, but he may have something going here. And a timeout by Connor. A very pivotal point in the game. The game-tying run is at first base at Trey Long. A timeout by Edmonds Woodway, and Julian's not liking any of the calls that Nico Cooper's given to him. As Nico Cooper goes back up to a mound, goes up to the mound. So both teams after this game will be starting to get into non-conference play a little further. Lake Stevens will be finishing up sooner than Edmonds Woodways. The payoff pitch, outside, ball 4. It is bases loaded with 1 out. Looking really similar to what happened last year in the 7th inning. Julian Kodama, he not only was hitting batters, as apparently either Costa Cooper or Dan Samoza or somebody gave him a hit list last year, but he was also walking guys, and that's what looks like might happen here, as now Theron Perkins comes up to the plate with a chance to break this game wide open. The first pitch, strike 1 looking. Theron, he is 0 for 2. He struck out swinging in the 1st inning and grounded out to the 3rd baseman Gunnar Whitelaw in the 3rd inning. And the 0-1 pitch. And that is a nasty curveball, an 0-2 count.
Yes, play for a reason. What else?
Kodama having a little bit of a miscommunication with the new catcher, Nico Cooper. The 0-2 pitch. Inside, ball 1. This goes low and inside into the dirt for a ball 1. As now coming into the game, there's pretty shiny out here. You see some blue skies, but as the clouds start coming in, looks like a little bit of rain starting to pour down as well. The 1-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? And no, he did not. Ball 2. Is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Did he go? No, he did not. Ball 2. With Ben Pizer going back to third base, and Julian, this situation that Julian Kodama's getting in, I keep saying this, I can say this a million times if I have to, is very, 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 very similar to what happened last year.
I like that helmet of yours.
And because of that, he only threw a third of an inning and ended up getting the loss. As once again, it's another meeting on the mound for Nico Cooper as he goes up to Julian Kodama. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bases loaded. Ben Pizer at third. Trey Long at second. Connor Bardew at first base. They're not even going to put Tanner in the pinch run for Trey. Julian getting the sign from Nico. The 2-2 pitch. Fly ball. This one going into right field. Going to the right fielder, Chad Curtis. Will he make the catch? Yes, he will. Ben Pizer, he's running for it. Getting Nico. Getting advantage. However, he's taking advantage of Chad Curtis not noticing the throw, and Ben Pizer will get in on a sacrifice fly. It'll be a sacrifice fly by Theron Perkins. It looked like no run was going to go in at all. The throw beat him by a mile, but Nico Cooper wasn't able to tag him as Ben Pizer will slide in. It is now a 3-2 Edmonds Woodway game. Trey Long is now at third. Connor stays at first for Will Wentz, who struck out swinging on both at-bats. And the first pitch by Julian. It'll be go down and outside for a ball 1. Runners on the corners now with 2 outs, and Lake Stevens is threatening. The 1-0. And that will hit Will for the second time this season. Will Wentz will get hit. This time it was in the arm. And once again, it will be bases loaded. Connor Bardew at second. And it'll bring up Christian LaPierre, who is 1 for 2, hit a single off of Julian in the last inning, and got a stolen base. And he has a chance of doing it again. And this at-bat will be game-changing. Hopefully towards the Vikings side here. Julian, the first pitch. Low, trying the curveball, but it goes low and inside for a ball 1. That's what it's looking like for Edmonds Woodway pitching, is that both Ian Michael and Julian Kodama look like they both just have a fastball and curveball at their disposal. Just the question is, where are they going to locate it? The 1-0. Line drive ball straight to the second baseman, Alvarado, and it gets off the glove. 1 run's going to score, and this game is now tied. Alvarado trying to field the ball as a 1-hopper. The ball gets away from the second baseman, Alvarado. That will score Trey, and the game is now tied at 3. It'll bring up the sophomore, Hunter Zalesko. He is 0 for 2. Christian now at first, Connor at third, Will at second. The first pitch, a 1-hopper to Nico Cooper. This is with every at-bat. It's getting, with every at-bat, Julian's appearance here is getting very similar to last year. He hit 3 guys last year. He already hit 1. He walked, I'm pretty sure, 3 guys, and he's walked 2 this inning. The 1-0 pitch for a ball 2. And a timeout by Edmonds Woodway, and they already have another pitcher warming up. That is number 10, Logan Cruz, another player switching from their JV and varsity teams. As all the base runners go to the third base side, along with Hunter Zalesko to talk to the third base coach, Jan Novak, and we'll go to is that Edmonds Woodway. They are finished up in the meeting on the mound. So the game is now, this is a brand new ball game here at the bottom of the 5th inning. Game is now tied at 3. Lake Stevens trying to get back up to a 500 record. After losing their first 2 games, they won the first game and are trying to get up to a 2-2 record. Hunter Zalesko facing a 2-0 count against Julian Kodama. The pitch inside, ball 3.
I like that eyes. Nice eyes, kid. Oh, yeah. Nice eyes. Oh, yeah.
And Julian, the 3-0. Outside, ball 4. He has walked 3 guys, and another run comes in. Hunter Zalesko gets his 3rd RBI of the year on a bases-loaded walk. And the Lake Stevens Vikings, once again, has a 1-run lead as they are up 4-3. There will be a pinch hitter. There'll be a pinch hitter for Lake Stevens. For Bryce Mefford, it'll be number 7, Tanner Lind. First pitch, a strike 1 looking from Julian. And the 0-1 pitch. Inside, strike 2 looking.
You still get 3 birdies.
It'll be number 10, Logan Cruz, who will approximately be the 3rd pitcher. The 0-2 pitch outside, ball 1. And Kodama, the 1-2. Curveball, strike 3 called. Strikeout number 4 for Julian Kodama, and that will end the inning. A huge inning for the Lake Stevens Vikings. 3 runs on only 1 hit, 1 error, and 3 runners left on. Lake Stevens, they scored 3 runs of their own in the bottom of the 5th to take a 4-3 lead. Devin McWaters coming back up on the mound and is currently now in line to get his first win of the year. He is facing a 6-7-8 lineup of Ty Starchman, Thomas Blayhouse, and Gunnar Whitelaw. And we are now back into the top of the 6th inning after Edmonds Woodway scores 3 runs to take a 3-1 lead. Lake Stevens responds with 3 runs of their own and retakes the lead 4-3. Devin McWaters back up on the mound facing off against Ty Starchman. First pitch is a ball 1 low and inside. Starchman is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a flyout, or a lineout, to Hunter Zalesko. The 1-0 pitch, a strike 1 looking. Devin McWaters currently now in line for the win. And Julian Kodama, just like last year, is in line for the loss. Except last year he actually got it. The 1-1 low under the strike zone for a ball 2. It'll be Ty Starchman. I said Thomas Blayhouse earlier. It'd actually be number 17, Ryan Nelson, and Gunnar Whitelaw. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters for the Warriors. The 2-1 pitch, fly ball, and that is a foul ball. Heads up! There'll be a foul ball, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the 2-2 pitch, a check swing for a ball 3, a full count, 3-2. As McWaters faces a full count on the first at-bat. Then the payoff pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. A huge out for Devin McWaters, and he'll bring up the pinch hitter Ryan Nelson, who was playing for Thomas Blayhouse at first base. And the first pitch will be a swing and a miss, strike one for the southpaw Nelson. The 0-1 pitch going on the bottom part of the strike zone for a strike two looking. And McWaters ahead on the count early on the pinch hitter. The 0-2 pitch by McWaters. Strike three called! He was painting the outside corners on Ryan Nelson. And that'll be the second strikeout for the sophomore McWaters. He'll bring up the number 8 hitter Gunnar Whitelaw, who is doing really good so far today. He's 2 for 2 with a 2-run double in the 4th inning. First pitch, a foul ball. Hits in foul territory and rolls towards the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko.
Go to work.
And McWaters, the 0-1,
Nice pitch.
going upstairs for a ball 1 to the third baseman, Gunnar Whitelaw. Again, a huge turnaround from last year. Last year, Gunnar Whitelaw in last year's meeting over at Mount Lake Terrace, he was 0 for 2. Today he's 2 for 2. And the 1-1 pitch, a foul tip, 1 ball and 2 strikes, moving McWaters ahead of the count. As Whitelaw, he was 0 for 2, striking out twice. Both times were against Connor Olmstead, who was the starting pitcher in that game. And now he is 2 for 2 with a single and a 2-run double in the 3rd inning and the 4th inning. And McWaters looking perfect out here in the 6th inning. The 1-2 pitch, foul tip. Got his second and third strikeouts of the year. Again, he only pitched 1 full inning coming into this game with no hits, no runs, or 1 hit, no runs, no walks, and a strikeout. The 1-2 pitch, and the top part of the strike zone, ball 2. There are 2 balls and 2 strikes. And McWaters already getting the sign from Trey. The pitch, line drive ball. This one going to Hunter Zalesko. The throw to first is in time. He touched the first base bag. And it's a 1-2-3 inning led by the sophomore Devin McWaters. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. It is still a 4-3 Lake Stevens lead as we go into the bottom of the 6th inning. With possibly... Yes, there will be a new pitcher for Edmonds Woodway, and that will be number 10, Logan Cruz, on the mound for the Warriors as we go into the bottom of the 6th inning. But we are now back into the bottom of the 6th inning. Lake Stevens still with a 4-3 lead over the Edmonds Woodway Warriors. And the Vikings. We're bringing back Brendan Miller, who struck out swinging on both at-bats, facing off against a new pitcher for the Warriors, number 10, Logan Cruz. The 0-2, or the 0-1. It will be a ball 1 on top of the strike zone for a 1-1 count. Julian Kodama threw 2 innings with 2 hits, allowing 3 runs, 1 earned. And the 1-1 pitch, a strike 2 looking. Walking 3 and striking out 4 in 50 pitches. Had 36 pitches in the 5th inning alone. The 1-2. Ground ball. This one going back to the shortstop, Kodama. Throw to first is in time for the first out of the 6th inning. It was the first time Brendan Miller made contact all afternoon. And it was the first time that Brendan Miller made contact all year as we go back to the top of the order for Ben Pizer, who has walked 2 times and hit a double in the 5th inning. The first pitch by Cruz. Outside, ball 1. Ben scoring 2 of Lake Stevens' 4 runs. The 1-0 outside, ball 2. As he scored the only run of the 1st inning and scored the first of 3 in the 5th. The 2-0 pitch under the strike zone for a ball 3. As Logan Cruz clocking in at about 5'6", coming onto the mound. The 3-0 pitch Ground ball. This one going to the second baseman, Alvarado. And it gets past the glove of Alvarado for a one-out single. And once again, Ben Pizer is on base for the 4th time this afternoon. He'll bring up Trey Long. Let's bring us up for Trey Long. Logan Cruz looking over at first. The first pitch. Strike one looking.
All right.
As we look at some of the Wesco 4A games that played yesterday, we said that yesterday that 2 teams were undefeated. The 0-1 ground ball. This going to Kodama. Tossing at the second. Tossing at the first. It's a 6-4-3 double play to end the 6th inning. It is no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on. And that will end the hitting for the Lake Stevens Vikings in the 6th inning. It is still 4-3 with Devin McWaters getting a chance to close this game out with the Vikings with a 1-run lead. They are facing the 9-1-2 batters of Ian Michael, Jalil Marinez, and Sam Alvarado. And we are now back into the top of the 7th inning. Lake Stevens on the winning end of a really good game so far in the top of the 7th inning. They are leading 4-3 with Devin McWaters coming up to the mound to try and close this game off. Again, he is currently in line for the win and is facing number 14, Carson Jarnberg, for a pinch hitter for Edmonds Woodway. First pitch, low for a ball 1. Jarnberg was the other pitcher that pitched in the last year's 7th inning. Next, the 1-0 pitch, a strike 1 looking. And the 1-1 pitch from Devin. Strike 2 looking, a nice pitch in the bottom part of the strike zone. As it'll be Jarnberg, it'll be Jalil Marinez, and it'll be Sam Alvarado. And the 1-2 pitch from Devin McWaters. A foul chopper. And a nice snag by the on-deck hitter, Jalil Marinez, trying to get that one. It'll be a 1-2 count. So let's look at what's going on around Wesco 4A baseball. I said that there were 2 teams that were undefeated at 3-0. They are now 4-0 as they got wins yesterday. The 1-2 line drive ball. It gets past the shortstop Hunter Zalesko as it gets into straightaway center field for a leadoff single. And the game-tying run is at first base in Carson Jarnberg. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White and Trey Long going to the mound. Facing the leadoff hitter, Jalil Marinez. Now the 2 teams that ended up winning and going up to 4-0 are Cascade and Monroe. They both played at home yesterday. Cascade, they beat Inglemoor 4-2. And Monroe, they beat Mount Lake Terrace 6-2. Other games, Mariner getting to a winning record for the first time in who knows how long. They beat Shorecrest 3-0. Mount Vernon shutting out Ferndale 4-3, and at Snohomish, a case of the endless 8s over there, as Shorewood beat the Glacier Peak Grizzlies 4-3 in 8 innings. We are now back at the top of the order. Jalil Marinez, who is 0-2. Devin looking over at first, not in time towards Carson Jarnberg. I said that his name was Carson Jarnenberg, but I was wrong on that. First pitch, ball 1. Throw to first, not in time. Did he get him? No, he did not. It was upstairs as Trey was ready to throw to first base. In the games that are going on today, it is Snohomish traveling over to Monroe High School. Meadowdale from one natural field to another. Next pitch, a ball 2. Marinez trying to bunt for that one. Trey throwing to first. Once again, not getting Jarnberg at first base. The Meadowdale Mavericks from one natural field to another, traveling up to Mount Vernon. And Lakewood, the Lakewood Cougars from Arlington, a 2A school traveling to Everett to play the Mariner Marauders. The 2-0 pitch. Tries bunting for it. This one will fall in foul territory. As it'll be 2 balls and 1 strike. As Marinez is ahead of the count, it's Marinez and then the second baseman, Sam Alvarado. He is currently on deck, and he is 0 for 3. Devin, the 2-1, tries bunting for it. This one going to the pitcher, tossing the first. Does he get him? No, he doesn't. And it'll be a bunt single for Jalil Marinez, and there's runners on first and second. And it'll bring up the number 2 hitter, Sam Alvarado. Runners on first and second with nobody out. And there are runners on first and second. Sam Alvarado 0 for 3 with a ground out to the pitcher, Devin, in the 5th inning, and grounded out to the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko, in the 1st inning. In the 3rd inning, from Justin Troya, he flew out to the center fielder, Christian Lapierre. As it looks like the rain is starting to pile up here. And the first pitch. Tries bunting for it here. This one, Devin bobbling the baseball, and Edmonds Woodway as the base is loaded. Lake Stevens, they still have their 1-run lead as Julian Kodama comes up to the plate. He is 2 for 3. Lake Stevens, they are still up by 1 run. Edmonds Woodway threatening with the bases loaded. And the first pitch by Devin. Outside for a ball 1. And the 1-0 pitch to Devin. Upstairs, ball 2. There's currently no pitcher warming up in the bullpen for Lake Stevens. So it looks like they might rely on Devin here in the 7th inning. The 2-0 fly ball. This one going into left field. Pizer. This one looks like going into foul territory. Ben throwing, and he cannot throw home as a sacrifice fly for Julian Kodama.
Hey, you're double play ball away from being out of this. Double play ball away.
And the game is now tied at 4 once again. There's runners still on second and first.
Hey, take care of them.
As Jacob Kitchen comes to the plate, he is 0 for 2. And it is now a tie ball game. Once again. And here is Jacob Kitchen. First pitch. Swing and a miss, a foul tip. The game-leading run is at second base in Jalil Marinez. And Sam Alvarado is currently at first base. He got on base on the error by the pitcher, Devin McWaters, earlier in the inning. And Devin looking over at second base towards Marinez, the 0-1. Upstairs for a ball 1. Trey's got to look at Jalil especially. He is apparently a very active speedster on the base paths, and Edmonds Woodway looks like if they're trying to get their first win, they're going to have to crawl it out of the hands of Lake Stevens. And the 1-1 pitch, a foul tip, a 1-2 count. And it looks like if Edmonds Woodway in the bottom of the 7th inning might have to rely on Logan Cruz to either bring this game into extras, or, if possible, close them out for the win. The 1-2. Upstairs, ball 2. A sacrifice fly for Julian Kodama, as he is now 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 singles. The 2-2 pitch. Inside, ball 3, a full count. And Devin not in a pretty good scenario right here, not in a pretty good situation as again the game is now tied at 4, and the game leading run is at second base, and he's facing a full count. The payoff pitch, ball 4, runner goes to the throw goes to second, not in time, and is now bases loaded once again. This time it goes for the number 5 hitter Chad Curtis, who is 1 for 2. A timeout by Lake Stevens. And they're trying to get a pitcher onto the mound. That's Bailey Corley, who's looking to make his second appearance. As it'll be a mound visit, bases loaded, and the game is tied with 1 out. Lake Stevens, they could end the top of the 7th with a double play, and it looks like they're going to put Bailey in. It'll take a quick break here, top of the 7th inning. Game is tied at 4, bases loaded with 1 out for Lake Stevens as Bailey Corley faces the number 5 hitter Chad Curtis. And we are now back into the top of the 7th inning. Lake Stevens bringing in a new pitcher in number 25, Bailey Corley, replacing Devin McWaters. First pitch is a ball 1. Next pitch, a swing and a miss, strike 1. Bailey Corley currently no wins and no losses with an ERA of 0. Making his second appearance. He threw a 2/3 of an inning against Marysville Pilchuck, walking 1 guy and allowing 4 hits and allowing 3 or 4 unearned runs. The 1-1 pitch, a nice pitch by Bailey. It's a strike 2 looking. Devin McWaters, currently 3 innings, 4 hits. Currently it's 1 run, but there will be no runs earned towards Devin. 1 walk and 2 strikeouts on 57 pitches, and is currently top ever. And if Edmonds Woodway scores, he is on line for the loss. Next pitch, ball 2. As Bailey Corley does not have his first varsity strikeout yet. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss, strike 3. It's a huge strikeout by the junior Bailey Corley. His bases loaded still. Game is still tied. That is a huge strikeout by number 25, Bailey Corley. Brings in the number 6 hitter, Ty Starchman. Currently is 0 for 3. Struck out swinging a couple of times. First pitch by Bailey. 1 hopper. Gets past Trey. Marinas goes in. Cannot throw. And Edmonds Woodway has the 5-4 lead. And the runners will advance. Edmonds Woodway retaking the lead 5-4. It's a ball 1 to Ty Starchman. And it's a 1-0. Fly ball. This one going in the right field. Bryce going towards it. This goes in foul territory. It'll be a strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Bailey the 1-1. Foul tip. It's now ahead of the count, a 1-2 count. And Bailey, the 1-2 pitch. Slow liner, slow fly ball to the first baseman, Will Wentz. And we are going to the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left on. Edmonds Woodway retakes the lead with a 5-4 lead. Lake Stevens, they've been in this scenario multiple times, and it almost always ends with the same result. Let's hope that ends in the same way, too, as we go into the bottom of the 7th inning. Looks like Logan Cruz may or may not be on the mound for Edmonds Woodway. We'll get the answer pretty shortly here. Bottom of the 7th inning. Edmonds Woodway 5, Lake Stevens 4. And we are now back. We're at the bottom of the 7th inning. Lake Stevens currently trailing Edmonds Woodway 5-4 after the Warriors scored 2 runs to prevent losing their second consecutive game. But the Vikings have a chance to walk it off here against number 18, Ty Starchman. He is 0-1 with an ERA of 8.40 last season. Has played in 3 games, started 2 of them, pitched in 15 2/3 innings, allowing 8 hits, 8 earned runs, walking 18 batters, and striking out 6. That's the huge stat right there, that he walked 18 batters in 15 2/3 innings and struck out 6. That's the huge number right there. Logan Cruz currently online to get the win. Devin McWaters currently online to get the loss. First pitch to Connor Bardew. The number 3 hitter is low for a ball 1. Connor is 0 for 2, struck out looking in the first inning, and was walked on a full count in the 5th, and was one of the 3 runs that scored in that huge 5th inning. The 1-0 by Ty. Low for a ball 2 to the catcher, Nico Cooper.
Let's go! You go, baby!
And the 2-0 pitch by Ty. Line drive ball. That gets into the hole in left field. And the game-tying run is at first in Connor Bardew. And it brings up their cleanup hitter, Theron Perkins, who is 0 for 2 with an RBI. Hit a sacrifice fly to right field. So the right fielder, Chad Curtis, didn't even know if Ben Pizer, who was at third, was going to go home. Found out he did, and he ended up scoring. First pitch, throw to first, not in time. We have another defensive position playing for Ty Starchman at left field is number 14, Carson Jarnberg. He is now at left field. So that's 4 different defensive positions. First pitch to Theron is outside for a ball 1. So either Logan Cruz might get the win and Devin McWaters might get the loss, or if the Vikings walk it off, it'll be Bailey Corley getting the win and Ty Starchman getting the loss. And the 1-0 pitch. Line drive ball. That gets into the hole in center field, and the game-winning run is at first base in Theron Perkins. Lake Stevens getting out right off the bat, literally, here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and it brings up Will Wentz, who was 0 for 2. He struck out twice and got hit on a 1-0 pitch on his left arm and was stranded at third. And Ty, the first pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. That one goes into the dirt. Ty Starchman with the changeup, with not the changeup, but with the curveball. Ty Starchman looking over at second, the 0-1. Upstairs, ball 1. Again, Lake Stevens, this is not only from last year, but also in the past couple years too. They have been in this situation where they were down by 1 run, down by 2 runs, as much as 3 runs, and would come back and would walk it off against the opposing team. The 1-1, swing and a miss, strike 2. Ty Starchman getting the sign from the catcher, Nico Cooper. And the 1-2 pitch. Low, and it gets past the catcher, Nico, and all the runners will advance. Game-winning run is at second base. And Theron Perkins and Connors at third. Now Will Wentz has a chance to walk this off with a swing of a bat right here. Will Wentz with a chance to walk it off with a swing of a bat right here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch by Starchman. Outside part of the strike zone. That is a huge call. That is a huge call by the home plate umpire. It is ball 3, full count. Infield is in. As Whitelaw, Kodama, Alvarado, and Ryan Nelson are all in. The payoff pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that is the first out. And now it'll bring up Christian LaPierre. And with a chance of a swing of a bat for him, he has a chance to win this game for the Lake Stevens Vikings. The first pitch, foul tip for an 0-1 count. Starchman getting the sign from Nico is Connor Baidu at third and Theron Perkins at second. The 0-1. And it will hit Christian! It gets hit again! And his base is loaded with 1 out. Base is loaded with 1 out for the sophomore shortstop, Hunter Zalesko. He is 0 for 2. He was walked with the bases loaded back in the 5th inning. That gave the Vikings the 4-3 lead. First pitch by Ty. Strike 1 looking right down the middle.
Hey, just swing it, baby. Come on.
And Ty the 0-1. Inside, ball 1. Hunter Zalesko once again coming up to the plate with the bases loaded. Last time that happened, got on base on a full count walk and gave him an RBI. And the 1-1. Hits the top part of the strike zone. Strike 2 looking.
I like it.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Ty Starchman ahead of the count. And the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And it's a huge out for Edmonds Woodway. Another strikeout, and it brings up Tanner Lind, who will be pinch hitting for Bryce Mefford once again.
Come on, baby. Hey, see it, let's go. 4 plus 3. 5 plus 2. Oh, yeah.
And Ty the first pitch upstairs, ball 1.
Bet you won't wear it. One pitch, one spot. Let's go.
And the first pitch upstairs, a ball 1 to Tanner. Back in the 5th inning, he struck out looking from Julian Kodama. Swing and a miss, strike 1.
Hey, we chilling, Tanner's too long.
And Edmonds Woodway, we've seen this from Meadowdale a little bit, but it looks like it's from every Wesco 3A South team. They have pretty reliable pitching. 4 strikeouts from Ian Michael and 4 strikeouts from Julian Kodama. Next pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. And Ty Starchman has a chance to do something to make him cold-blooded here. They get the 3rd out with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 7th inning. And the 1-2 pitch. Inside, ball 2 to Tanner. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Ty, bases loaded, 2 outs, up by 1. 2-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. And the game is over. It was a back and forth battle. Either way, but Edmonds Woodway will come out with their first win of the year. They beat the Lake Stevens Vikings by the final score of 5-4. Not only that, but they get out of a bases loaded 2-out jam that would have walked it off for Lake Stevens, but instead it will give Edmonds Woodway their first win of the season. They are 1 win and 1 loss. The Lake Stevens Vikings now down to 1 win and 3 losses. Both teams will be playing this Saturday. Lake Stevens playing at home against the Central Kitsap Cougars, while the Edmonds Woodway Warriors will be playing yet another road game, this one against the Jackson Timberwolves. The final score now, Edmonds Woodway 5, Lake Stevens 4. Lake Stevens had an early 1-0 lead. Edmonds Woodway responded with a 3-run 4th inning. Lake Stevens later responded with a 3-run 5th inning of their own, but Edmonds Woodway got a couple runs in the top of the 7th inning to give themselves a 5-4 lead, and eventually the 5-4 win. It was a hard-fought battle. Good luck to Edmonds Woodway High School for the rest of the season. Again, the final score now, Lake Stevens 4, Edmonds Woodway 5. The winning pitcher will go to number 10, Logan Cruz, who gets the win. The losing pitcher will be Devin McWaters, who is now 0 for 1. My name is Payne Patchett. You've been listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball, and we'll see you this Saturday on March 24th as the Lake Stevens Vikings will play their 3rd game of a 5-game homestead against the Central Kitsap Cougars. Good night, everybody.